Most people wake up already defeated, not because life is cruel, but because they allow the world to decide how their day will unfold. The Stoics believed something different, that every single day could be your best day if you choose to live by unshakable rules. Have you ever noticed how quickly the days slip away after 40? One morning you wake up and realize that weeks, months, even years, have passed almost without notice. The routines repeat themselves, the obligations pile up, and deep inside you wonder, am I really living, or am I just surviving? This is where Stoicism becomes more than just ancient philosophy. It becomes a daily compass. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, wrote in his journal every morning, reminding himself that the day ahead could be his best day if he lived with intention, discipline, and courage. Today, I want to share with you 12 Stoic rules for living your best day, every day. These are not abstract theories. They are life lessons, meant to be practiced, especially after 40, when wisdom matters more than speed, and when presence matters more than ambition. Rule 1. Begin each day with gratitude. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Gratitude is the very first Stoic rule for a reason. Before the chaos of the day begins, before the world demands your energy, you must anchor yourself in appreciation. I remember a period in my life when mornings felt heavy. The alarm clock rang, and I already felt behind, as if the world was waiting with problems I couldn't solve. But one morning, I paused. Instead of rushing out of bed, I whispered a single sentence, "Thank you. I woke up today." Something shifted. Gratitude didn't erase my problems, but it gave me strength to face them. Because when you are thankful for life itself, every challenge becomes smaller, less intimidating. If you are over 40, gratitude carries even more weight. You know how fragile life is. You've lost people. You've seen opportunities disappear. And yet here you are, still breathing, still able to shape this very day. The Stoics teach us that we don't own tomorrow. We only have today. And when you begin today with gratitude, you set the tone for a day worth living. So tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you check your emails, just pause. Whisper thanks. List 3 things silently that you are grateful for. It could be as simple as the breath in your lungs, the roof over your head, the chance to live another sunrise. This is not sentimental fluff. It's discipline. Gratitude is a shield against resentment, against envy, against regret. It turns ordinary mornings into sacred beginnings. Remember, your best day doesn't begin when the world treats you kindly. It begins when you treat life itself as a gift. Rule 2. Focus only on what you can control. Epictetus, once a slave, taught one of the most powerful Stoic truths: some things are within our power, while others are not. This simple idea can save you decades of unnecessary suffering. Because most people, especially as they grow older, waste their energy on what lies outside their control. They argue about politics, complain about the weather, obsess over what others think. And in the process, they lose the only control they ever had: control over themselves. I remember a friend who was constantly angry. He spent hours shouting at the news, at politicians, at strangers on the internet. But when I asked him, "How is this anger improving your life?" he had no answer. Because the truth was, it wasn't. The Stoics remind us, the only real power you have is over your thoughts, your choices, and your actions. Everything else belongs to fate. After 40, this lesson becomes even more vital. You cannot control the past, the mistakes, the lost chances, the words you wish you had spoken. You cannot control the future, the economy, the health of others, the changes of society. But today, you can control how you respond. You can control whether you speak with kindness or with cruelty. You can control whether you waste your time or live with purpose. Imagine how peaceful your life would be if you stopped fighting battles that were never yours to win. If you stopped demanding that the world bend to your will, and instead bent your will toward what you could truly shape. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself one simple question: is this within my control? If the answer is yes, act with courage. If the answer is no, release it. Let the universe carry it. Your best day is not a day without problems. It's a day where you refuse to be enslaved by what lies beyond your reach. Rule 3, embrace discomfort as a teacher. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Think back to the hardest season of your life. Maybe it was losing a job. Maybe it was a health scare. Maybe it was a betrayal by someone you trusted. At the time, it felt unbearable. But when you look back now, wasn't it that very pain that made you stronger, wiser, more resilient? The Stoics believed discomfort was not an enemy but a teacher. They practiced voluntary hardship, sleeping on the floor, wearing rough clothing, fasting just to remind themselves that comfort is not guaranteed, and strength must be cultivated. I remember the winter when our family went through financial struggles. I worked long hours, sometimes skipping meals so the children could eat better. It was painful. And yet, in that discomfort, I discovered a hidden power, the ability to endure. That season of struggle prepared me for challenges that came later in life. After 40, many people long for comfort. They want life to be easier, softer. But the truth is, growth doesn't happen in ease. Growth happens when you lean into discomfort, when you accept that pain is shaping you. So instead of asking, "Why me?" when life gets hard, try asking, "What is this teaching me?" That shift transforms suffering into wisdom. Your best day isn't a day free of difficulty. It's a day where you walk through discomfort with dignity, knowing it is forging you into someone stronger. Rule 4, live today as if it were your last. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. This is not morbid, it is liberating. Death is not the enemy of life. It is the reason life is precious. I still remember the phone call when a close friend passed away suddenly at 52. Healthy one day, gone the next. For weeks, I kept replaying our last conversation. I couldn't stop thinking about the small things I had postponed, the coffee we never had, the words I never spoke. That loss changed me. From that moment, I began to ask myself every morning, if today were my last, how would I live? Would I waste it in resentment? Would I scroll endlessly on my phone? Would I complain about things that don't matter? Or would I tell my loved ones how much I cherish them? Would I pour myself into the work that matters? Would I notice the sky, the laughter, the little miracles that I once ignored? The Stoics weren't obsessed with death. They were obsessed with living fully. By remembering that time is short, they learned to value the hours they were given. And after 40, this truth becomes unavoidable. We don't have endless years ahead. But we do have today. Your best day comes when you live as if this moment is your final gift, because one day, it will be. So don't postpone life. Say the words now. Forgive now. Love now. Act now. Rule 5, practice silence and reflection. Epictetus once advised, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. In today's world, silence feels uncomfortable. People rush to fill every pause with noise, television, phones, endless chatter. Yet, the Stoics believed silence was not emptiness, but space for wisdom to grow. I remember a conversation with an older mentor, a man in his 70s. He hardly ever spoke during meetings, while the rest of us argued and debated. But when he finally opened his mouth, every word carried weight. Why? Because he had practiced the art of silence. He listened first, reflected, and then chose words that mattered. After 40, silence becomes even more valuable. It is in quiet moments that we truly hear ourselves. It's in reflection that we notice our patterns, our flaws, our desires. Without silence, life passes in a blur, and we lose the ability to guide ourselves. The Stoics practiced evening reflection. Before bed, Marcus Aurelius asked himself, "What did I do well today? What could I have done better? What lessons will I carry into tomorrow?" You can do the same. Each night, turn off the noise, sit alone for a few minutes, and reflect. Ask, did I live according to my values? Did I waste my time, or did I honor it? Did I treat others with dignity? This practice does not require hours of meditation. Just a few moments of silence. In those moments, the noise of the world fades, and the truth of your life becomes clear. Your best day is not the one filled with the loudest victories, but the one where silence allows you to hear your own soul. Rule 6, guard your time fiercely. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Time is life's most precious currency. After 40, you feel this more deeply. You realize that time is running faster, that years slip away quicker than you imagined. And yet, so much of that time is stolen not by fate, but by distractions, obligations, and people who do not value it. I once had a colleague who accepted every invitation, every demand. His calendar was full, but his soul was empty. He had no time left for what mattered: his health, his family, his own peace of mind. He was living everyone else's life but not his own. The Stoics teach us, guard your time like a treasure. Because once it is gone, nothing can bring it back. Guarding your time does not mean rejecting people harshly. It means setting boundaries with wisdom. It means saying no to what drains you, so you can say yes to what nourishes you. Think about it: how many hours are lost each week to arguments online, to gossip, to obligations that do not align with your values? What if you reclaimed just half of that time? You could spend it strengthening your body, deepening relationships, or cultivating your mind. Your best day is not measured by how much you did, but by how much you valued your hours. Live each day as if your time is gold, because it is. Protect it. Spend it wisely. Rule 7, choose simplicity over excess. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Our modern world tells us that happiness comes from more possessions, more recognition, more comfort. But the Stoics saw the truth: the more you own, the more owns you. I remember walking into the home of a friend who had retired early. His house was modest, almost plain. No grand decorations, no overflowing shelves of things. Instead, he had space. Space to breathe, to think, to enjoy his garden, to welcome guests warmly. He looked more peaceful than many wealthy men I knew who were trapped by their own possessions. After 40, this lesson becomes urgent. You realize that no matter how much you accumulate, it does not guarantee peace. The clutter outside reflects clutter inside. Simplicity doesn't mean living with nothing. It means living with enough. Enough clothes, enough gadgets, enough commitments. It's asking yourself, do I need this, or am I just filling an emptiness? The Stoics practiced simplicity as freedom. Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor, chose to live modestly, reminding himself daily that wealth and power could vanish. Your best day comes when you are not chasing excess, but savoring simplicity. When your heart is lighter because your life is lighter. Rule 8, respond, don't react. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Life will test you. Someone will insult you. A driver will cut you off. A family member will say something harsh. You cannot stop these things. But you can choose your response. I remember one evening when a close friend lashed out at me in anger. My first impulse was to shout back, to defend myself. But I paused, just for a moment. Instead of reacting, I asked, "Are you okay? You don't usually speak this way." The room grew quiet. He broke down and told me about the stress he had been hiding. That moment could have ended our friendship, but by choosing to respond instead of react, it deepened it. After 40, emotional control becomes one of life's greatest strengths. You've seen enough conflict to know that reactions quick, hot, uncontrolled rarely solve anything. They only leave scars. The Stoics trained themselves daily. When insulted, they practiced indifference; when provoked, they practiced restraint. Not because they were weak, but because true strength is calmness. The next time someone tries to provoke you, imagine you are a rock in the storm. Let the waves crash, but remain steady. Respond with clarity, or with silence, but never let another person's chaos decide your peace. Your best day is not one without conflict. It's a day where you hold your power by choosing your response. Rule 9, treat every person with dignity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'Today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But I will not be harmed by them, for we are made for cooperation.'" The Stoics understood a simple truth: we cannot control how others behave, but we can always choose how we treat them. I remember an encounter at a grocery store. An elderly man in line ahead of me was frustrated, snapping at the cashier for moving too slowly. The young cashier looked embarrassed, almost in tears. When it was my turn, I smiled and thanked her sincerely for her patience. Her whole face changed. That moment reminded me, kindness costs nothing, yet it changes everything. After 40, this lesson becomes even more vital. You've seen enough human flaws to know that anger only multiplies pain. People are broken, just like we are. Everyone is carrying burdens you cannot see. The Stoics practiced treating every person, friend or enemy, rich or poor, with dignity. Why? Because how you treat others reflects who you are, not who they are. The next time someone is rude, pause. Instead of reacting with equal harshness, choose dignity. It doesn't mean you allow abuse. It means you refuse to let their darkness dim your light. Your best day is not the one where everyone treats you well, but the one where you choose to treat others with dignity, regardless. Rule 10, accept fate, but act with courage. The Stoics often spoke of amor fati, love of fate. Epictetus taught, do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to, rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens, then you will be happy. Acceptance is not weakness. It is wisdom. Life will give you things you cannot change: aging, loss, setbacks. To fight these truths is to exhaust yourself against the inevitable. I remember when a close relative was diagnosed with a terminal illness. At first, I resisted reality. I prayed for different outcomes, grew angry at life, asked why him. But the more I resisted, the more I suffered. Eventually, I learned to accept, not passively, but courageously. I accepted that death was coming, and with that acceptance, I spent every remaining day more fully, more present, more loving. After 40, fate feels closer. You see parents aging, children leaving, your own body changing. The Stoics would say, accept these changes, but act with courage in how you respond. Acceptance does not mean doing nothing. If fate places you in hardship, courage means acting with strength inside that hardship. If fate removes something precious, courage means cherishing what remains. Your best day comes when you stop saying, life must go my way, and instead say, I will meet life as it comes, with courage. Rule 11, live with integrity, even when no one is watching. Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Integrity means living in alignment with your values, not when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. I remember a small but unforgettable moment. I was at a gas station late at night, and the clerk accidentally gave me too much change. No one would have known if I kept it. For a second, the thought crossed my mind, maybe this is good luck. But then I looked at her tired eyes, working the night shift, and I handed it back. She smiled with relief, and I drove away lighter. Not because I gained money, but because I kept my integrity. After 40, integrity becomes the legacy you leave. People may forget your accomplishments, but they will remember your character. Did you keep your word? Did you act honestly? Did you live in a way that your children or your friends could admire without shame? The Stoics remind us, integrity is not about perfection. It's about consistently choosing what is right over what is easy. Your best day comes when you live it in alignment with your deepest values, when your actions match your words, and your words match your heart. Rule 12, remember you are part of the whole. Marcus Aurelius reflected, what brings no benefit to the hive brings no benefit to the bee. We often think of life as an individual journey, but the Stoics saw it differently. We are threads in a larger fabric. Just as a hand cannot exist apart from the body, we cannot exist apart from humanity. I once volunteered at a shelter where men and women were rebuilding their lives after losing everything. One man told me, the hardest part wasn't losing my home. It was feeling invisible. That struck me. To be human is to be seen, to be connected. After 40, it's easy to feel isolated. Children grow up, friendships shift, careers change. But the Stoics would remind us, you are never truly alone. Every act of kindness, every gesture of service, every moment you give to others strengthens the whole, and in strengthening the whole, you strengthen yourself. Your best day is not only about your own happiness. It's about contributing to something larger, your family, your community, even a stranger whose life you touched with kindness. When you remember that you are part of the whole, you live with humility, compassion, and purpose. So there you have it, 12 Stoic rules for living your best day, every day. Not rules written in stone, but timeless reminders to be grateful, to focus on what you control, to embrace discomfort, to live fully, to reflect, to guard your time, to choose simplicity, to respond with calm, to treat others with dignity, to accept fate with courage, to live with integrity, and to remember that you belong to the whole. Life after 40 is not about chasing youth. It is about deepening wisdom. It is about turning every day, no matter how ordinary, into your best day. So tomorrow morning, when you wake, ask yourself, how will I live my best day, today? And then live it. Backhand index pointing right. If this message touched you, subscribe to the channel for more Stoic wisdom, and share this video with someone who needs encouragement today. For your next step, watch The Daily Habits of Stoic Masters, 7 Practices for a Stronger Mind. It will give you practical ways to live out these principles every single day.